in a large group? Yeah, talk to me.
Because everybody may not have the same views on it as you do.
Does anyone want to expand upon that? Everyone might not have the same belief system, right? And even within the same religion, there might be differences in terms of how people interpret things, what their religious experience is. Yeah, Peter.
We have different ways of thinking, so we'll see each other's thoughts differently, and as usual, people will probably have aggression towards each other because of the difference in thought.
Okay, so I want to take that back for a second because you're talking about people becoming aggressive because there are different ways of thought. In this setting, in this circle, when we're looking at one another as a group, and we're thinking about complex issues, like how does religion affect our society? Where do we see religion say? We each come into this room with different belief systems, right? And when we express those belief systems, as Peter was saying, people might get a little bit aggressive. But how, as a group and as a classroom community, do we talk about these things together so that we can channel those feelings that might lead to aggression into a more productive manner to make this, because this has to be a safe space, right, for everyone to talk. What are you saying? Yes, okay. So, but how would you do that? If I was talking to you about my religion, my religious beliefs, what would you do to make clear to me that I should consider your behavior as aggressive, that I'm in a safe space to talk to you about that? What can you do to make me feel that way? So respect. In a group discussion like we're having, or we're about to have right now, I'm sorry, I'm talking a little bit too much. How do we show each other that we are respecting people? Yeah.
Like, let someone finish what they have to say, and then finish it.
Let someone finish what they have to say. That's groundbreaking. I like that. So that you can get a complete thought out there. And then how else do we make sure that people know that we're listening, right? Because we all want to feel listened to. Yeah.
Eye contact also helps. Because, like, if you give eye contact, you're most likely, like, even though I know, like, some people do just, like, look at you and they're probably thinking about something else. But, like, some people also, if you just give eye contact, you will also be a better listener.
All right.
As hearing their thoughts.
Okay, so we've got this big idea of respect. Eye contact plays into that. It's mostly about showing people that you're present. We are not showing people that we're present, Tilly, if we were looking at our phones, which I will take.
It's all.
All right. Well, then put it away. So the issue is, how do we show people that they are respected, that their opinion is valued? And I'm not saying that their opinion is universally agreed upon, right? Because in a group of, 35 people, myself and Mr. Roy included, not everyone's going to agree. It's going to be the rare statement that everyone agrees with, but that's not what we're looking for here, right? Yeah.
So what about the people who have no problem, okay, I know there are a lot of people in the class who have no problem with expressing exactly what's on their mind.
Sure.
Like myself.
Sometimes,
so,
yeah.
If, like, I just know, like, if you say something that I strongly disagree with, I think is ridiculous, like, I'm going to say that. So I don't know how to not, because, like, then I feel like I won't be giving you my full opinion. You know, if I give you my full opinion, it will not be respected.
You don't want to be filtered.
So, yeah, so how are you supposed to, how are people who want to be respectful, how are they going to be respectful by still giving their full, like, opinions? Because I want to be like, no, I don't have nothing to say. Well, really, I do. It just might offend you.
That's a really nuanced thing to bring up. Does anybody have a response to that? Because I still struggle with that also. New voice. I know you have ideas. Yeah, Mr. Roy.
I would say something along the lines of ask them some questions. So if you think that somebody said something that's ridiculous, ask them why they said that. Is it because they just think it? Or do they actually have some evidence that is leading them to some conclusion? And if they haven't presented their case, they just give you their thoughts, then maybe you're just like, that makes no sense. But if they explain it, maybe it would make a little more sense and you just disagree. Or maybe they have no evidence and you don't want to say you're an idiot for thinking that. That's a little disrespectful, very disrespectful. But you can then kind of point them towards that, point them into that direction of just thinking about where do they get their ideas from. And that way, because you're saying things like, because I'm assuming if you think somebody is saying something ridiculous because you disagree, but see where the point of disagreement is. Is it why they're thinking, or is it how they're getting to that conclusion?
Yeah, and then can someone say, so that's a great way to respond to those kinds of things, but if you know that you are someone who has strong opinions and strong beliefs, and that you're willing to say what needs to be said, right? What can you hold in your mind that might allow the group discussion to continue a little bit more easily, or to hold other people's opinions in mind when you're expressing your beliefs?
Yeah, can you say it again?
Yeah, so if you know that what you're saying might be controversial, how might you make that statement so that it doesn't offend people? Anything. It could be about anything. But in a group discussion, when we're making statements that we know some people aren't going to agree with, yeah, Wesley.
Try to say that with like my opinions or I believe.
Okay, so that's one way. So we talked about listening. Yeah.
I think it kind of, I don't know if I'm saying like this,
Doesn't matter.
I think it kind of like throws people off, or like, I know people when people say like, oh, like like if you say like, especially with like a color after it, or a religion, or like something that people like believe in or like go by, it's like you can't say all people are like that, because that's stereotyping a whole group, and you experience one person that two people do that.
Okay. So we're going to get into the real questions now, but I want to give us a couple of tips. So when we're listening, we are showing people respect by having our eyes on them, by saying that, we're not saying this out loud, but we are saying as a community that this is a safe place to say things that might be controversial, that everyone might not agree with. But also when we're talking about things, especially when we're talking about something as personal as religion, we're speaking not in general terms always. So we're not saying all Jews or all Christians or all Muslims act a certain way. We're saying that my understanding, we're speaking from the I perspective, we're saying that my understanding of this issue or this religion is this. And unless we have evidence or we're talking about something specifically, we don't necessarily have to be the expert. We can be open to critique, because that's why we have a dialogue. So I'm going to start us off. And the way we're going to work this is that one person's going to volunteer, but then the same person can't talk until at least 5 more people have talked. This is our first time doing this, so I'm instituting a couple rules, all right? So just at the most general level, I know this is kind of philosophical, what is religion? What does it do? Yeah. It's something that people believe in. All right, I'm just going to throw it out there. Any other responses? Yes, thank you.
So that's really something that people believe in to give them purpose in life.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they have a purpose.
Yeah, I'm going to interject just once. So that's a great comment. When you're elaborating on something, just name the person you're elaborating on.
Elaborating on that.
Yeah, so going from a point. So anyone have a response? Yeah, Tilly.
No, I just had to go to the bathroom.
You said to go to the bathroom. Can you wait maybe 5 minutes? You can't wait? All right, you can take it off. All right. Any other responses of what is religion? Any other ideas beyond it kind of being a belief system, something that people congregate around? Yeah, Peter.
It's CQ, right?
Yeah.
I want to elaborate on CQ because I totally agree with him. It gives people, sort of meaning in life. What do I live for? And it also gives people an explanation for things they cannot explain. Originally, religion gives a story, and still does often, about the creation of the world because we couldn't figure out a way to do it, how it works. And religion is also gives us reasons to do things. Yeah.
Okay. So Peter brought up a whole other kind of avenue of thought in terms of it. Yeah, Wesley.
Elaborating on like basically, like you said, people could live their life based on their religion. Live a certain way, provides morals, and based on that.
Yeah, Sean, then we're going to keep going around. Can you speak up just a little bit? I don't think people over here can hear you. Okay, so there's an idea that I want to return to in a second that affects society, but what were you going to say before we move on?
I was gonna elaborate on what you about how like people live their life like in a certain religion, but just to add to that, like what interests me is that like you're born into a religion, so it's like even if you wanted to change your religion, like by the time you're old enough, you've already adapted to that lifestyle of like that certain religion. So it's interesting.
Okay, so perhaps on a more personal level, and actually before we get into society, I want to stick it on this more personal level, that it's a family thing, right? So you don't necessarily get to choose what religion you are in. It's part of your family. And then, so if religion is part of your family, and I don't know if people are wanting to engage in this, because this might be a little bit too personal, but if someone wants to come out there with this would be great. On that family level, how do people interact with religion? This can be from your own experience, this can be something you noticed. Yeah.
Kind of to answer your question and elaborate on what Janelle said, like she said, like people are typically born into a religion, and it's more than likely kind of hard. If that's what you grew up on, it's very difficult to change over to a religion, because even though most religions are very similar, like the rules are always like so different. And like both of my parents like grew up Christian, and then like in their teens they both converted to and then they're both Muslim, and I think it's interesting how they did it, because they were full blown Christian, church and crosses, and now they're full blown Muslim, like the whole everything, like I just like,
yeah.
I think
So at the same time, you're saying the rules are different, right? So the way you live your life might be dictated by some of those rules. And what you're saying is that change is hard, but you're saying it from a personal example, it's possible. Okay, so we have these ideas about what religion might do in the family. Does anybody else have any kind of personal experience with religion that they want to share? Yeah, go around, please.
So there's like multiple religions in my family. Grandmother, my grandmother's like whole side are Jehovah's Witnesses, and then my mom, she didn't like Jehovah's Witnesses at all, so she became a Christian.
Okay.
But then like she met my dad, and he's kind of not atheist, but like he believes in something totally different. So we're like Christian, but really nothing.
Okay.
And then like the rest of my family is split up between Christian and Muslim.
Okay, so when you say you're Christian but really nothing, that brings up something about there being what? Yeah, you want to talk about that?
So that is also Alexis. I don't really think like when you can be like born into a religion, but like if not everyone is like go hard for that religion. Like they might be like some or in between. Like they might call themselves Muslim, but they might not follow the Quran, or they might call themselves Christian, or they might not read the Bible.
All right. Yeah, we just had you, but we're going to wait a couple more people. Yeah.
To elaborate on Autumn's point,
Thank you.
that's like my family, most of them identify as like Christian, but some of them are just Christian because they say they're Christian, and others are really Christian because they believe Christianity.
Sure.
And then there's like my mom who just like reads the Bible, but isn't any type of religion. But there's so much arguing because they have different levels of understanding based off like different contexts and like different reasons why. That there's a lot of feuding for no apparent reason because just because.
Okay.
And that creates a lot of like needless tension for some people.
So just on the family level, what you're saying is that there are different levels of understanding that can lead to both, I would expect, kind of joy on family levels, because you can discuss different things with each other, you can have kind of cultural understandings, but can also, as you were saying, lead to conflict. So even on the family level, we have this idea that religion can be both a source of joy, a source of good things, it can be a source of a code, a shared understanding, but can also sometimes be a source of conflict. Yeah, alright, so we're coming around. Yes. You need. Yes.
When you say source of conflict, I don't think so, because when you say the source of conflict, like the two different religions,
Potentially.
I say because to be one religion, you're supposed to know all the religions.
Mm-hmm.
So you
What,
should.
can you elaborate on that? It's a concept